Greetings once again, my good young friends. And so I want to tell you a little bit of a story about how I had a roommate once. And believe it or not, I had a girlfriend once. Oh my. So, anyhow, it was many years ago, and I had, at this time, a pretty good girlfriend. We lived together along with our roommate. Um, he was a interesting fellow, one might say, and he sometimes had some trouble dating. So anyhow, at this time I was going to college, and we were riding together, and then there was this one day where we passed a melon patch. There was all these melons coming out of the ground. Something so bizarre for me to see. So anyhow, I begged him and kept on slapping him on the shoulder. Pull over, pull over. And we ended up doing so, and it was like this natural little melon patch. Like they looked like fucking watermelons. It was fucking weird. Um, yeah, it was so near a school. So anyhow, I ended up after making him pull over, grabbed one of them, and I ended up saying that this is going to be my girl's birthday present, and I kept on petting it over and over again, and he looked at me a little bit like, "Are you fucking mental?" And I said, "Yes, I am." So anyhow, I ended up getting home after school that day, and I ended up trying to figure out a great way to introduce the melon to our family. We'll call him Braven. Braven kept on saying, "Loki, what's wrong with you? You're a little nuts. You have a random bit of shrubbery, and what are you doing?" So anyhow, I calmed his nerves and said that "Oh, come, my dear, I know what I'm doing." So anyhow, she comes home, and I had dressed up the melon with a wig near the doorway, and with a nice little sign that invited her in. And she came in with an eyebrow raised on each side of what is going on here? I ended up saying, "Oh, it's the new addition to our family. We always look to adopt, didn't we? We got to end being proactive here, so I felt it impending upon me to end up doing so." And she was like, "Loki, you're a kind soul." So anyway, turning the clock forward here, Mr. Braven, that was living with us, had a damnedest of time dating. Sometimes that didn't always work out well for him. He ended up having some hits and misses, but then came across one day where it was dating back to someone he used to know in another town. And he went over there, and we had the melon, as a common dress, sitting there for quite some time. Had become quite a regular part of the family. So, anyhow, Braven was picking up his lady love for that evening and bringing her back. And I tell my current lover, let's call her for Rachel, and we end up deciding that wow, this is so weird, we have never spent an ounce of time around her. What can we do to possibly make this more uncomfortable? I don't know, but I figured something out. So anyway, we ended up going into the bedroom, and I grabbed the melon here, and for Rachel, and ends up doing a lot of hair these days. So we tailor like a nice little wig on top of like the melon, draw like a nice little happy face on her, and put her inside of Raven's room on top of the pillow, and we had to. We felt so compelled. What could we do? We had to end up making her a more dressed up and making her to a real person. Raven only deserved the best, of course. So we filled out some clothes and then some underwear, and made her look nice and like desirable on top of this bed. We knew was something that might not be realistic here, so we had to get the tissues and set them outside next to her, along with a bottle of lotion, because we needed her to feel natural. Of course, it would only be becoming of us and making her feel more invited. So it came down to later in the evening here, whenever they both ended up getting back, when Raven ended up picking up his lady love, and they came back only to discover that Melanie was laying on the bed, waiting on Raven. Oh dear, this is very uncomfortable. There was a sign Melanie ended up leaving up saying that, how could you leave me so unkempt? His lady love that he brought back. Oh, the mystery and the oh so vile, vile, dastardly deeds he was, like cheating on Melanie, bringing home his new lady love only to be discovered with her waiting on Melanie waiting for this nasty, nasty reaction to occur. So, anyhow, what can I say? I suppose they got over it. There was a whole lot of noise coming out of that room that night, and we all had a nice heaping bit of dessert of what can I say, fruit pie the next day. So it was strangely zesty. That's why I remember about that day. And it lasted a few, and we ended up thanking the girl they brought over because she had a nice recipe for cucumber pie. We never really understood where she got the ingredients, but I guess that's what happens when, like, you invite her guests. They just pull things out of where, and things just happen. Well, my greatest thanks for her to being so diligent and so nice to think about us in such sparing detail. Oh my goodness, if only people could be so kind always. It it would lead to a greater world where it would just be more fragrant. Maybe a little less accurate though. Yeah. Alright. You folks have a beautifully fucking amazing day.